So now the next one what we have to discuss. Take a bit special care about this terminology, right? So now the next point. So map related terminology completed. In the collections, so we covered list and set. List part we discussed, set part we discussed. Third part is queue concept, right? So in the collection, list we completed and set we completed. Next queue concept, right? So up to this we had a talk about key value pair like keys values, like. But once again we came back to collection. Collection is nothing but what? A group of individual objects. Now there is no question of key or value, something like. Forget about that terminology. That terminology gone. Okay, this is queue is a. So queue is child interface of collection. You know, right? Okay. When we should go for queue? Okay, I want to when we should go for queue prior to processing. So before processing, if I want to store a group of objects, before processing, if I want to store a group of objects, then we should go for what? Queue concept, right? Best example even I covered. Sir, I want to send one SMS message for 1 lakh members saying so and so update. I want to send one SMS alert. Then all 1 lakh mobile numbers I have to store somewhere in my database, in my data structure, right? So now first number, second number, third number I added like 1 lakh numbers. Now read first number and send SMS message. Next read second number, send SMS message. In which order we added, in the same order only the message will be triggered. Correct or not? Okay, this is first in first out. Are you getting? First in first out. Same. Sir, I want to send one mail for 1 lakh members. Is nothing but mail. All 1 lakh mail IDs I have to store somewhere. For that best suitable data structure is nothing but what? Queue concept, right? Are you getting? Prior to processing, if you want to represent a group of objects, then we should go for what? Queue concept. So I hope in your advanced terminology somewhere JMS concept is there. Okay, JMS. What is that? Java? Java message service. Okay, this is in that everything we have to talk in terms of queues only. We remember is nothing but queue, because all messages we have to store somewhere in the queue. Publish is nothing but like there is some terminology. So wherever prior to processing, if you want to represent a group of objects, then we should go for what? Queue concept, right? Is it clear? Now this queue module we have to discuss. Here just observe what things we have to aware. Here see, sir, collection is there. Okay, collection is there. Next here what is this concept? Queue concept, right? Next in the middle we have some other concept also. I mean here we have list concept is there. Have you remember list is there, and even set is also there. Even under set, okay, there is some concept anyway. List is there, set is there. Next in the list, do you know array list is there, linked list is there. Yet at this stage not required to keep explanation. Vector is there, stack is there. Next here this part is our main. Queue is there. For the queue there are several implementation classes are there. Priority queue is the implementation class. Next blocking queue, priority queue, blocking queue. Next priority blocking queue, okay. Next linked blocking queue, priority blocking queue, linked blocking queue, ... Okay, there are several. Do you know this total concept came in which version? Is 1.5 version, right? But here one point I didn't cover up to this one. There is one point I didn't discuss up to this. What that concept is? Linked list implements which interface? List interface. From 1.5 version onwards, linked list class also implements queue interface, right? Linked list class also implements which interface? Queue interface. But from 1.5 version onwards, now linked list implements what? List. Linked list implements what? Queue also. But this line came in which version? 1.5 version, right? Are you getting? Next, usually queue follows first in first out order. Okay, it's a standard. Queue follows which order, Anna? First in first out order is the standard. But based on our requirement, we can implement our own priority also. Don't feel always first in first out. If you want, we can implement our own priority order also. Best example for you. Suppose usually what happened is, suppose today one class cancelled. Okay, sir is not feeling well. Then sir intimated to the office saying, today I can't come because my health is not good, like. Then immediately what we have to do? We have to intimate to all students saying, today so and so faculty class is not there because of health problem. So tomorrow the class is as usual, like. We have to send one SMS message. It's nothing but it's a very common. What we did is, one time we send a message. At evening 6 o'clock class is not there. We send the message at 4 o'clock only. 4 o'clock. Then at 6 o'clock all the students came. Really we got stunned. Why we send SMS message? Then we asked the students saying, sir, we send already SMS, why you came? Sir, we didn't receive any SMS, like everyone showed. Sir, we didn't receive. Then immediately we made a call to service provider. So some service provider is going to provide SMS message service for us, right? Immediately we send, we contacted. At 4 o'clock I send message, but still at 6 o'clock not yet. Okay, this is the students not yet get. Now the students are coming. It's a big problem, like. Sir, please wait 2 minutes, I will check, like he told. Then immediately checked in the back end database, in the queue. He checked in the queue. Sir, with what user ID you send messages? Durga or Durga, yes. So sir, with Durga, yes, there are some 300 messages are there, but these messages are in the queue. These messages are in the queue. Already 300 Durga messages are in the queue. But before that, almost 1.5 crore messages are in the waiting state because one election campaigning is going on. You are getting? One election campaigning is going on. So first these 1.5 crore messages have to deliver. After that your numbers will be delivered, sir. Sorry, there is no, because these days election movement, right? That's why we send like then okay, that a day. Then what I have to do? If the class is going to be cancelled at 6, 2 hours before we are sending the message, but there is no use. Then what we have to do? Like we ask, okay, they say. Then that person tomorrow I will come, sir, I will explain, like that person disconnected. Do you know at what time these messages got delivered here? At midnight 1 o'clock these messages got delivered. Class cancelled is one problem. Deliver these messages at 1 o'clock to the student is a big problem, because sending the message at 1 o'clock is not good. Okay, this is a big problem. Then next day that person came, service provider, his name is Sunil or some. He came. Arey boss, what is the problem? How we can send this kind of thing? Sir, whatever the queue you are using, because you are paying 26 paisa per SMS 26 paisa, it is the normal queue you are going to get. Whatever the queue you are using is nothing but first in first out order only. If any numbers are already in the queue, after delivering that only your numbers message will be delivered, like you told. Then what I have to do? Sometimes urgent message may be required to deliver. Then what I have to do? Then that person told, sir, you have to take priority queue. Are you getting? There you have to take priority queue. So then he told, then what is the difference between priority queue? Immediately the message will be delivered. Okay, this is normal queue. Then so it is first in first out order only, it is going to follow. I can't do anything. Then what is the cost of priority queue? Per message for normal queue 26 paisa. Then automatically this 52 paisa is the message cost in the priority queue, like. Then what we did here? Can you please give the login for priority queue also? Urgent messages we will deliver, we will send through priority queue. Normal messages, tomorrow new batch is there, this type of messages we will send in the normal queue, like I told. Are you getting that? Okay, this is. So usually queue follows which order? First in first out order. But based on my requirement, I can implement my own priority queue also. Do you know? If it is the priority queue, now it is the priority queue. So here service provider is there. Here service delivered. First it is going to consider, is there any numbers in the priority queue? If it is there, first give the chance for this. After completing this, then better to consider normal queue. Are you able to understand that? So even 1 crore, 1.5 crore numbers are there. If my 300 numbers are there in the priority queue, first these 300 numbers will be delivered. After that, these messages will be triggered, right? At Tirumala, you know, VIP darshanam. Are you getting? We have 300 rupees darshanam, or otherwise 50 rupees or 100 rupees, right? Different levels are there, right? So for all the people, only one queue, first in first out order. But I want to take 300 rupees ticket. Then automatically, when compared with a normal line, you people are going to get high priority. Correct or not? Suppose if you are going with some MP or MLA or otherwise minister letter, then automatically direct you can able to go and you can visit. Are you getting that? So even God grace is more for VIPs and then normal people, like so. This is so priorities. Have you observed? Usually first in first out, but special case we can implement our own priority also. Best example for that is priority queue. Is it clear for all of you, right? So this queue module we have to discuss. These are the important conclusions, right? First at this point, queue. Better to take in this style 1.5 version, 1.5 version enhancements, 1.5 version enhancements, 1.5 version enhancements, 1.5 version enhancements within bracket queue interface, queue interface within bracket queue interface. Okay, at the point, it is the child interface of, it is the child interface of, it is the child interface of, it is the child interface of collection. It is the child interface of collection. Okay, better to take this diagram first and then we will add some theoretical things. Collection, list, set, queue. Collection, list, set, queue. Take clearly. Collection, list, set, queue. Okay, priority queue, blocking queue, like priority queue, blocking queue, priority blocking queue, linked blocking queue. Take clearly. Completed, right? Okay, so this is at the theoretical point. If we want to represent a group of individual objects, if we want to represent a group of individual objects, according to, if we want to represent a group of individual objects according to 1 minute. If we want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, if you want, you can consider from the screen. Prior to processing, if we want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, then we should go for queue. Then we should go for queue. Next up, for example, before sending SMS message, before sending SMS message, before sending SMS message, SMS message, SMS message, all mobile numbers, all mobile numbers, all mobile numbers we have to store, all mobile numbers we have to store before sending SMS message. We have to store all mobile numbers, all mobile numbers in some data structure, in some data structure, in some data structure. We have to store all mobile numbers in some data structure. Next, in which order we added mobile numbers, in which order we added mobile numbers, in which order we added mobile numbers, which order, in which order we added mobile numbers, in the same order only, in the same order only, in the same order only, in the same order only. Message should be delivered, message should be sent, message should be sent or should be delivered. In the same order only, message should be delivered, message should be delivered. For this first in first out requirement, for this first in first out requirement, for this first in first out requirement, Q is the best choice, Q is the best choice. For this first in first out requirement, Q is the best choice, Q is the best choice, Q is the best choice. Are you getting? Next point, Q is the best choice. Okay, next point. So here usually Q follows first in first out order, but based on our requirement we can implement our own priority queue also. Okay, at usually Q follows first in first out order, usually Q follows first in first out order, usually Q follows first in first out order, first in first out order, but based on our requirement, we can implement, but based on our requirement we can implement, but based on our requirement we can implement our own, we can implement our own, we can implement our own priority order also, our own priority order also. But based on our requirement we can implement our own priority order also. Within bracket what? Priority queue, within bracket priority queue, priority queue. Okay, next from 1.5 version onwards, from 1.5 version onwards, from 1.5 version onwards, from 1.5 version onwards, linked list class also implements, linked list class also implements. From 1.5 version onwards, linked list class also implements, linked list class also implements queue interface, linked list class also implements queue interface, linked list class also implements queue interface, linked list class also implements queue interface. Next, linked list based implementation of queue, linked list based implementation of queue, linked list based implementation of queue always follows, linked list based implementation of queue always follows first in first out order, linked list based implementation of queue, linked list based implementation of queue always follows first in first out order, first in first out order. Okay, that's all. So these are various important theoretical things related to what queue concept, right? But now, so collection methods happily we can apply for the queue, no problem at all. But a queue concept also, queue itself contains some specific methods. There are 5 specific methods are there. Do you know? Whenever we are using the word stack, immediately we are immediately 2 methods will strike in our mind: push method, pop method. Similarly, whenever we are using q specific methods are there. Total how many methods are there? Five methods are there. Keep submitting. q interface specific methods. 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 Do you know what are various methods present in the queue? Okay, queue interface specific methods. Just observe this one. In the related to the queue, what methods are there? Very simple, but the terminology is the new one. Just the method names are new. Sir, I want to add one object to the queue. What the method we have to call? Simple normal add method. But here, suppose here just observe. These many members are there in the queue to get some service. So here just observe cinema ticket. We are going to issue a cinema ticket. Then these members are there in the queue. Here is the counter. From the counter, this person is going to provide the service. So another person came. Boss, I want the service. So for this person also, can you please offer the service? Like I have to so make him to stand in the queue. Are you getting, boss? Please stand in the queue. You will get that service. Are you getting? This service will be offered for these people. So I want to add an object means you have to offer some service for this person. Are you getting that? So what is the method to add an object to the queue? Is nothing but offer. Offer is the method. Are you getting? Offer is the method. Offer of object O. Are you getting? Queue. Why the people are standing in the queue? To get some service. So I want to offer some service for the people. The people who require the service, can you please stand in the queue? Are you getting that? Can you please stand in the queue? For these queue people only I will offer the service. So I want to add an object to the queue. Then which method we have to call? Offer. Offer is the method, right? Next. Sir, here this is. Boss, can you please remove this person? Remove. Offer this service and then remove this person. First in, first out. Head. This part is called head element. Head element. Next one, head element, like. So who is going to get in the service first? This person first. First person is nothing but what? Head element. Like, sir, can you please remove and returns head element of the queue. Remove and return head element of the queue. Then we have to use which method? Poll. Poll is the method. Poll. Can you please poll this person? Poll means remove and return head element of the queue. In the case of stack, something like pop operation. Pop means what? Remove top of the stack. Here remove and return head element of the queue. Poll is the method. Now there is one more method is there. Remove method. Can you tell what the purpose of remove method is? To remove and return head element of the queue. What the purpose of poll method? To remove and return head element of the queue. Sir, both methods for the same purpose. Both poll method is for the same, remove method is for the same. But what is the difference here is, observe this one. Sir, if the queue is empty, then poll method simply returns what? Null. Queue is empty, boss. No one is there. That's why I can't return anything. Null. If the queue is empty, immediately we will get runtime exception saying no such element exception, like. Immediately we will get runtime exception saying no such element exception, like we are going to get. Are you getting? Observe the difference, right? If the queue is empty, then we will get runtime exception in the case of remove method. But in the case of poll method, just simply we are going to get null, nothing. So queue may be empty, use a poll method. Queue should not be empty. At least one person should be there in the queue. By mistake, at least one person also not there. Something goes wrong, raise exception. Then use the remove method, right? Are you getting the point? Okay, these are the two methods. Next, poll method, remove method, right? Next, sir, don't remove. Can you please return? Can you please return head element of the queue? Can you please return head element of the queue? Then automatically which method? So here peak method. Are you getting? Can you please return head element? Head element of the queue is nothing but peak. Peak is the method we have to use. Peak method, right? Okay, head element of the queue is nothing but peak method we have to use. Okay. Now observe this one. Peak method is for what? To return head element. Sir, there is one more method is there named with the element method. Element method. What is the purpose of element method? Same, sir. So return head element without removal. Don't remove, just return head element. Then automatically element method. Then immediately you may ask, sir, what is the difference between peak and element? What is the difference between pole and remove? Are you getting right? Same difference here. If a Q is empty, then peak method simply returns null. Null. If a Q is empty, element method raises what? No such element exception, like runtime exception, right? That's all. Total, how many methods are there? How many methods are there in the Q interface? 5 methods. Offer, poll, remove, peak, and what the last one? Element method, right? These are 5 methods you should aware. So poll and remove purpose is the same. To remove and return add element of the Q. If Q is empty, poll method returns null. If Q is empty, remove method raises no such element exception. Similarly, peak and element purpose is the same. To return head element of the Q without removal. If Q is empty, peak method returns null. If Q is empty, element method raises no such element exception, right? These are the 5 Q interface specific methods, right? And keep subbing. Q, what heading you took? Q interface specific methods. Okay, take these methods from the screen. Take Boolean offer. Clearly description is also there. Boolean offer of object O. Boolean offer of object O to add an object into the queue. Boolean offer of object O to add an object into the queue. Next, object peak. Object peak to return head element of the queue. Take clearly. To return head element of the queue. If queue is empty, then this method returns null. If a queue is empty, then this method returns null. Then this method returns null. This method returns null. Next, object element. Object element to return head element of the queue. If a queue is empty, then this method raises runtime exception saying no such element exception. Take clearly. Boolean offer of object O to add an object into the queue. Object peak method to return head element of the queue. If a queue is empty, then this method returns null. Right. Element method, poll method, remove method, like these are the 5 methods what we have in the queue interface methods. Completed, right? These are the methods what we have. Return head element of the queue. If queue is empty, then this method rises. No such element exception like. Okay, that's all. Now the next terminology. Okay, make sure the first implementation class of queue. What is the first implementation class? Of course, we are going to discuss only one class. Keep subheading priority queue. Keep subheading priority queue. Priority queue. So do you know? So if you want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, sir, if you want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing according to some priority, are you getting? According to some priority, then we should go for priority queue. So it is the queue only, but only specialty is all the elements will be inserted according to some priority, right? Okay, this is next. Do you know the priority can be default natural sorting order, or customized sorting order. Are you getting? Default natural sorting or customized? Was all students, can you please stand in the queue according to your roll number, wise, or according to alphabetical order of your names, like according to some priority, maybe default natural sorting or customized priority, both possibilities are there. Okay, like next, sir, here insertion order is preserved or not preserved? Have you observed the board? Priority queue insertion order is preserved or not preserved? Not preserved. All elements will be inserted based on some priority, right? Next, sir, here duplicate objects are allowed or not allowed? So duplicates are not allowed because I want to offer some service. That service should be provided to unique people. If the same person 2 times standing or 3 times standing, dummy person is nothing but no. So duplicates are not allowed. Duplicates are not allowed is nothing but like here saying duplicates are allowed or not allowed? Duplicates are not allowed. Next, and after that, the next important conclusion, duplicates are not allowed. Next, heterogeneous objects are allowed or not allowed? Heterogeneous objects, because have you observed, if we are depending on default natural sorting order, so compulsory the object should be homogeneous and comparable, otherwise we will class cast exception, right? Sir, if the objects are, so I want to define my own sorting by using comparator, same comparator concept. If you want to define our own sorting by comparator, then objects need not be homogeneous, need not be comparable, both options are there, need not be, right? Next, what about null insertion? Null insertion not possible even at the first element to the empty priority queue. Null, such type of story not applicable, right? Are you able to understand these? So these are the things, general points related to priority queue at this point. Priority queue. If we want to represent a group of individual objects, if I want to represent a group of individual objects, prior to processing, if I want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, according to some priority, according to some priority, then we should go for priority queue. Next, second point, the priority can be either default natural sorting order. The priority can be either default natural sorting order, or customized sorting order, or customized sorting order defined by customized sorting order defined by comparator, customized sorting order defined by comparator, defined by comparator. Next, third one, insertion order is not preserved, insertion order is not preserved, and it is based on, insertion order is not preserved and it is based on some priority, insertion order is not preserved and it is based on some priority. Next, duplicate objects are not allowed, 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 not allowed. Next, if we are depending on default natural sorting order, if we are depending on default natural sorting order, if we are depending on default natural sorting order, compulsory the objects should be, if we are depending on default natural sorting order, compulsory object should be homogeneous, compulsory object should be homogeneous and comparable, compulsory objects should be homogeneous and comparable, otherwise homogeneous and comparable, otherwise we will get runtime exception, saying, otherwise we will get runtime exception saying class cast exception, otherwise we will get runtime exception saying class cast exception. Next, if we are defining our own sorting, if we are defining our own sorting by comparator, if we are defining our own sorting by comparator, then if we are defining our own sorting by comparator, then objects need not be homogeneous and comparable, objects need not be homogeneous and comparable, objects need not be homogeneous and comparable. Next, null is allowed or not allowed, null is not allowed, even as the first element also, null is not allowed even as the first element also, null is not allowed even as the first element also, even as the first element also, that's all. So these are various conclusions what you people should aware. Next, keep supporting constructors. Here just observe, see this one, sir, priority queue is equal to new priority queue. Sir, first constructor, priority queue is equal to new priority queue, creates an empty priority queue with the default initial capacity 11, and all objects will be inserted according to default natural sorting order. Are you getting? All objects will be inserted according to what? Default natural sorting order. Because we are not providing any comparator object, then default natural sorting order. If it is a number, ascending order. If it is a string, alphabetical order, like this is. Sir, second, priority queue is equal to priority queue of int initial capacity. Sir, I don't want 11, I want 1000. No problem at all. You can, is nothing but we can customize initial capacity, right? Third one, sir, I don't want default natural sorting, I want customized sorting. Then priority queue is equal to priority queue of int initial capacity, comma comparator C. Are you getting? But if you want to customize priority, compulsory we should customize initial capacity also. There is no constructor which can take only comparator as the argument. Make sure you should. So int initial capacity, comma comparator C. Next, intra-conversion between sorted set. Okay, for the given tree set, I want to create an equivalent priority queue. Then this is the constructor. Intra-conversion between collection objects. Any collection, if you want to create priority queue, then we should go for this. Is it clear for all of you? Okay, this is take only first constructor. Only first one. Priority queue q is equal to priority queue q is equal to new priority queue. Priority queue q is equal to new priority queue. New priority queue. New priority queue. At the point. Creates an empty priority queue. Creates an empty priority queue. Creates an empty priority queue with the default initial capacity. Creates an empty priority queue with the default initial capacity. With the default initial capacity 11. With the default initial capacity 11. And all objects will be inserted. And all objects will be inserted. And all objects will be inserted. Will be inserted according to. And all objects will be inserted according to default natural sorting order. All objects will be inserted according to default natural sorting order. According to default natural sorting order. Next one. Next second. Priority queue q is equal to priority queue q is equal to new priority queue of int initial capacity. Priority queue q is equal to new priority queue of int initial capacity. Int initial capacity. Initial capacity. Second one. So third constructor. Priority queue q is equal to new priority queue of priority queue. New priority queue of int initial capacity. Int initial capacity, comma comparator C. Int initial capacity, comma comparator C. Comma comparator C. Next up, fourth one. Priority queue q is equal to new priority queue of sorted set S. New priority queue of sorted set S. Sorted set S. Priority q is equal to new priority queue of sorted set S. Next, priority q is equal to new priority queue of collection C. New priority queue of collection C. C. Okay, that's all. Are you able to understand, right? Okay, this is. Now let me go for a simple program. Okay, so one is default natural sorting, the other one is customized sorting. Let me explain with a small example right here. See, priority queue demo. Priority queue demo.java. And I here see. So priority queue is equal to new priority queue. Sir, I am creating an empty priority queue. Now I am asking system.out.println queue.peak method. It returns head element of the queue. But if the queue is empty, then we will get what? Null. Because at the beginning queue is empty only. That's why null we are getting. Sir, if a queue is empty, but I am calling queue.element method, what will happen? Runtime exception saying no such element exception. No such element exception by default we are going to get. Just let me cross check all the remaining. Are you getting? Just let me comment all and let me check these two things first. Priority queue demo. Okay, Java C priority queue demo dot java. Yes, java priority queue demo. Okay, what is the output? Yes, so the output we are going to get null. Okay, next exception in thread main java dot util dot no such element exception, because second queue is empty, right? If queue is empty, no such element exception we are going to get. I covered element method, queue should not be empty. Okay, this is. Now let me comment this. Sir, I am taking for int I is equal to 0, I is less than or equal to 10, I plus plus q dot offer of I. Okay, how many elements we are adding to the queue? 11 elements. And is it default natural sorting or customized sorting? Default natural sorting order. Then in which order the elements will be added? First 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Can you tell which element will be inserted first? 0. That's why 0 will become head element. Now SOP of Q. SOP of Q. What the answer we are going to get? Default natural sorting order 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on up to 10 we are going to get. Sir, system dot out dot println SOP of Q dot poll. Q dot poll. Poll means what? Remove under returns. Remove under returns head element of the queue. That's why what is the head element of the queue? 0. Let me cross check whether am I going to get the same output or not. See, sir, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on 10 followed by q dot remove means poll means remove under return head element of the queue. What is the head element? 0. And then after remove, now which element will become head element? 1. Now what is the content of the queue? 1, 2, 3 and so on 10. Are you able to understand? This is priority queue for default natural sorting order. Okay, this take this example. Priority queue demo. Next, priority queue is equal to new priority queue. System dot out dot println q dot peak method null, q dot element method take all. Completed, right? So no such element exception. Like next, head element is nothing but 0. Remove and returns head element of the queue itself is nothing but 0, right? Next, SOP of queue. Now just observe here. Make sure you people should aware one small twist. Here SOP of Q, what is the answer? 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on 10. And Q dot poll, what is the answer? What is the answer? 0. because it remove and returns head element of the queue. After remove, what the answer if I can print a queue 1 2 3 and so on 10. Let me execute once, because by keeping this SOP I didn't execute. Have you remembered? Just okay. Now let me execute once. What the answer by default we are going to get? Have you observed? So 0, first time 0 1 2 3 and so on 10, and then 0, and then 1 3 2 7 4 5 6. Is it our required output? No. But why we are getting this output? Why we are getting this output? Because make sure some operating systems won't provide proper support for priority queue. Remember this one. Somewhere have you remembered? Even in the case of multi-threading, thread priorities also we used the word priorities, thread priorities also. Some platforms won't provide proper support for thread priorities. Even in our exam, if this bit is there, your answer should be 1 2 3 4 and so on, but not this random answer. Are you getting why we are not getting exact output, our expected output? The problem is not with our program, the problem with our system, right? Then how we can handle? Simple. Service provider, you can send a mail, then they will provide some patch, we have to install that, then automatically the problem will be fixed. Okay, this take a note. Some platforms won't provide proper support. Some platforms won't provide proper support. Some platforms won't provide proper support for thread priorities. Some platforms won't provide proper support for thread priorities. Won't provide proper support for thread priorities. For thread priorities, of course. Yes, sorry. Thread priorities and priority queue. At that point, no problem. And priority queue. And priority queues. Thread priorities and priority queues. We are writing blindly, man. Just you have to even by mistake I'm telling. Okay? Thread priorities and priority queues. Okay, both. Okay. So this is that's so even in the original exam, if you are getting the bit, your answer should be 1 2 3 4 and so on, but not this random answer, right? Are you able to understand? Okay, this is next. Let me go for one more example where which talks about priority. Okay, now customized. Same example, priority queue demo 2.java. Here see, priority queue is equal to new priority queue of 15 comma new my comparator. Sir, 15 comma new my comparator, what it means? 15 is initial capacity, new my comparator object, right? Now, so q dot offer of a z l b we added, right? Now string s1 is equal to obj1 return s2 dot comparative of s1. What it means, you know by this time, reverse of alphabetical order. So assume these are the mail IDs. Assume mail IDs I added. Then to which person the first mail will be delivered or will be triggered on a Z. Even though we added Z as the second element, first who is going to get in the mail is nothing but Z person. After Z, next person L, and the next person B, and the next person A. Suppose so Z L B A in this order the service will be provided. Suppose if I am not taking new my comparator, in which order the service will be provided? A, B, L, Z. Observe the difference, right? Okay, this any explanation is required. Okay, now take this example, demo program for customized priority. Customized priority. Class priority queue demo 2 public static void main. Priority queue is equal to new priority queue of 15 comma new my comparator. Next q dot offer of A, q dot offer of Z, q dot offer of L, q dot offer of B. and then SOP of Q. AZLB SOP of Q. So the output we are going to get ZLBA. ZLBA like. Completed, right? Class. Completed, right?